Are you wondering how to create a risk heat map in Excel? Well, if so, you've come to the right place because I'm going to be showing you step by step all of the things you need to do and some tips and suggestions along the way. So as you can see here, I've opened up a brand new Excel document and we're going to first and foremost do a little bit of formatting on the columns and the rows. So I've left clicked on the top left hand icon here, and that basically selects all of the columns and rows. Now what we want to do here is just expand the width probably to around about 10. Doesn't have to be precise, but that's going to kind of work for what we're looking to do. And then on the rows I'm going to hover over until I see that little black symbol and drag down, and I'm actually going to make that about 50. Again, doesn't have to be precise, but what I'm trying to essentially do here is create squares. I might actually make these a little bit bigger just to give us a little bit more room to work with. Now, the next thing we need to do is we need to add the axis. So the first one we're going to add is impact, and I will show you the second one in a moment, but I'm going to leave this here for now. And the reason I'm going to do that, actually I'll put this in row 3. And the reason I'm going to do that is I want to start basically adding the start building up the heat map essentially. So number 5 we're going to have in this one here, and what I would recommend doing, actually we'll put all the numbers in first and then we'll do some of the formatting that you're going to want to basically set up on your side. So we're going to put 1 here, and then so that's one of the that's the first axis, and then the second one we're going to put here. So put your numbers in like this to start with. And then what we're going to do here is left click, I'm going to drag it all the way down. So we've covered the whole scale on the left hand side, and we're going to click merge and center. Now you'll see that it's kind of at the bottom. We don't want that. What we want to do now is right click, and we want to click format cells. On the alignment section, we want to basically on here, you can edit it via the degree section. We basically want to turn the text on its side. So I've left clicked and I've dragged it to the top to change the orientation. Pressed OK. Now we want this in the middle, and you'll see it's now put it in the middle on the axis, which is great. And I'm going to make this a bit bigger so we can see it. Now we're going to do the same here. So select all of these cells, and this axis is going to be probability. So I'll type this in actually first, just get it into the cell. Left click, drag across, we want it to be across this entire axis. Merge and center, and this time we don't need to change the orientation because it's at a good visible view. We've got 36 here, so let's put this at 36 as well to keep it all uniform. Actually that's probably too big, isn't it? That looks a bit, oh no, there we go, I did it too much. Okay. So one thing you could then do here is you want to merge and center, so the same kind of formatting applies. Sorry, not merge and center. We want to center these, and we want to put them in the middle. So same again for these, middle, center. And then we've essentially built our 2 axes, and now we just need to fill out the numbers. So the easiest way to do this is to imagine this as a calculation. So 1 times 1 equals 1. 1 times 2 equals 2. 1 times 3 equals 3. 1 times 4 is 4, and is 5. Now the next one, 2 times 1 is 2, and you'll start to see patterns emerging. So 2 by 2 is 4, and then we can tell basically the pattern is going up in 2s, so 6, 8, 10. So 3 times 1 is 3, 2 times 3 is 6. You get the idea here. I've seen the pattern, it's plus 3. So basically each step up, we're adding 1. That's another way of doing it. So 4, 5 with that pattern, you just basically see the patterns that emerge. You don't need to remember these patterns, it's just to make sure that you get all of the numbers in the heat map that you need. So this would then be, 2 times 4, that's 8, so this is going up in 4s. So each row basically goes up by a new amount, so this will be 16 and this will be 20. And the last one, I believe it goes up in 5, so that's right. So 5, 10, 15. And if you ever get lost or don't know what numbers to put in, go back to the calculation. So 5 times 3 is 15, 4 times 5 is 20, and the last one is 25. So again, we want to basically center these and put them in the middle. So it's all starting to shape up now. So what I would then do is I would suggest that you put these these kind of axes in a kind of light shade. So I'm going to put them in a grey. And we just basically want to differentiate the axis from the grid. Now, what we can then do is start working out. Actually, I'm going to select all of this first, and I'm going to put a border around it. So left click up here, so in the home ribbon, and we're going to put all borders. Now, what we need to do now is we've got our numbers, and we can see, you know, a high probability and a high impact would be, say, 25. But what we need to do is we need to create I'm going to create a key which basically gives us an idea as to what, you know, each number implies. So what does high impact, high probability mean? So in regards to the numbers, let's create the key down here. So I'm just going to make this a little bit smaller. I'm going to put key here, bold this, make this a little bit bigger. Now I'm going to do two different keys. I'm going to do one for the impact and one for the probability. So let's do impact. So our impact options, so will be, so impact, how's best to do this? We could go impact 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to border this. Actually, we don't want that. Yeah, I can leave it like that for now. All we want to basically do is explain what each number means against each axis. So number 1 in impact, that could be something like, you know, it's got a low impact. Number 2 could be, or sorry, I should say that should be a negligible impact, if I can say that correctly. Number 2 would be low. 3 would be medium, you know, medium impact if something happened, if a risk was to occur. 4 would be high, and number 5, as you can imagine, would be very high. So that would have a big impact. If something was to happen and it was given a 5, that would have a very high impact. Let's make this a little bit bigger. I'm going to put this in a grey as well, just for, you know, just looks quite nice. We're going to do the same again for probability. So I've copied and pasted that. So I selected this all, I did Control C, I've gone down here and I've pressed Control V and it's copied it across. Now this time I'm going to wipe out the definitions, and for probability we can update it so it's a little bit more in line with that particular axis. So the first one would be, you know, improbable. You know, if you see a risk and give it a, you know, a number 1 rating, then let's just say it's improbable. The second one could be something like remote. The third one could be, you know, it's fairly likely to happen. The fourth one is probable. And the fifth one, very likely. Now, bear in mind, these are just the definitions that I'm using that I think make sense for a risk register and a risk heat map. But you may have your own. So do bear that in mind. I'm actually going to make that a little bit bigger. You know, you get the idea. What we're trying to do here is show a scale, and from low to high, basically. So you know, just, you could use your own terms or you could change these accordingly. But if you want just to use a kind of uniform approach that people will kind of understand, then these are a good place to start. And I'm probably just going to do that as well, because this formatting just looks nicer on the eye, doesn't it? Although that needs a border, I believe. I don't know what happened to the border there. So we've got our key and we've got our heat map. Now we need to basically add some color coding to differentiate, you know, the relationship between impact and probability. So the way I would suggest you do this is almost add to your key, and we can put, you know, risk, just put risk impact v probability for now. And what we're trying to show here is the relationship between these two. So what I'm going to suggest is that any score under 5, so if a risk is given an impact and a probability that equals under 5, then we're going to say, you know, that's a green. You know, it's not something we need to concern ourselves with. If it's between 6 to 12, then, you know, oh, that's a date. I need to change that. So format cells, we want this to be general. No, we don't. We want that to be number. No, we also don't want that. I'm going to change my for if I do that, it might work. No, we didn't like it. I need to put this to custom text, of course. Why does it not like this? Right, 4 to 12. Okay, and it's not 4 to 12, it's 6 to 12. Sorry, I'm getting thrown off here. So if any risk has a impact and probability combined score of between 6 and 12, we're going to give that a yellow. Sorry. Anything between 13 and 20 is going to be an orange, and anything 20, let's put 25, is going to be red. So again, I'm going to put this like this. I'm going to put that into a grey. You know, this kind of stuff, you can format it how you like. It doesn't really matter. But what I would suggest you do in this section here, I'm just going to get that for simplicity's sake, is I'm actually going to put the colours in here so we know exactly. Actually, let's get this all the same. So I'm going to put the colours in here so we know. So we're basically mapping the key to what we add to the heat map. So actually that green's probably a bit too much. And we're going to go this green here. Yellow, I'm going to go for this shade. That's more of a gold. Yeah, it is a gold. Here's a yellow. Orange, we're going to go... That doesn't really look like an orange, does it? We'll go for that one. And then a red is going to be this one here. So here's our map, basically. So what we can start doing here is we look at our numbers. So anything under 5 is a green. So I'm going to format the painter just to copy the colour across. So anything under 5. So a 4 would be a green. It should actually be, to be honest, it should be equals 5 and under. So equals... no, it's not going to like that. Bugger off. Right. So what I'm trying to say here is anything that is 5 and under. So I'll just put 5 and under just for your reference. So 5 and under. So that would be a green. Format painter. 3 would be a green. Oh, I should probably find this green here. It'd be a lot quicker. Oh, I've done that in text. I'm making all sorts of mistakes. Right. We want that to be black. But we want this to be green. We want this to be green. Because it's under 5, you see. Or 5 and under. So we want that to be green. And I think that's covered all of the different numbers. Next, if we go to 6 to 12, yellow. So this would be yellow. 6 to 12, that's equals the criteria. And it's including as well. So you can see I've covered 12, and that's why I included 5 before. So 9, 6, 8, 10. Okay. So 13 to 20 is orange. So I believe this is orange. Orange. Orange, 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 and that would be orange. And the final one is red. So that is essentially, and I'm going to put all this in bold, and that is essentially how to create a risk heat map. And what you'll see here, and the benefits of the color coding, is you can start to, you know, when you're filling out a risk register, you can start to see what risks may need attention. So for instance, any risk that has a probability of 2 and an impact of 2, green, let's not worry about it for now, let's focus on other risks. However, if we've got, you know, a probability 4 and, you know, an impact of 4, 16, orange, well, that may have a particular type of action associated with it. And lastly, anything that's 25, big red, that's something that needs attention right away. We need to look into that. We might need a contingency plan, etc. So that's the purpose of the color coding. Of course, I'm using this this color coding scheme. You could change it. You could change the numbers. So you could have anything under, you know, 18 is, or sorry, anything between, you know, 20s could be red as well if you wanted. You get the idea here. But that really is how to create a risk heat map. I hope this video was useful. If it was, please do hit the like button. That tells me I should continue creating videos like this. And if you do want to see more videos on creating risk heat maps or anything risk register related, then do consider subscribing to my channel. I've got a lot of different videos on topics like this. So do head over there and have a look for yourself. And with that said, I hope you have an excellent day.